Ladies and gentlemen, we've done the Diaz manifesto, we've done the ANC's manifesto. It's time to do the Minnow Party's manifestos. So we're going to do ACDP, Freedom Front Plus, and IFP all in one video. For mine, I really want to start off with the ACDP. My boys. You remember Kenneth Mishue, we did an interview with him. He was bloody based. Anyway, his first comment that he actually made during his manifesto launch is that the ACDP wants to introduce a law. And the law is actually around false accusation. So he basically says, where a person reports a crime that they didn't commit, and you're caught, you're the one that's going to get sentenced. That's actually a pretty good crime, though, because clearly it applies to things where the person accuses you of rape, but could equally be applied to allegations of racism. What do you think?
I can see the why this is interesting, but it's not really that interesting in terms of priorities in the country. What do ACDP say about crime? Because, I mean, once you solve crime, you solve everything else.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because they basically said that the reason we have crime in South Africa is because of foreigners. So they want to secure the borders. They say the minute you close the borders, and they say, unlike some parties, they say secure the borders, they say close the borders. So the minute you close the borders, in their eyes, crime does kind of get solved. However, they also say that what they want to ensure is they want to ensure criminals coming to South Africa, which they say actually come from all over the world. So closing the border is one step. The other is actually stopping people coming to South Africa to basically commit crimes. And we have seen that happen quite a lot, where people come to South Africa and use South Africa as a mafia state. It's one of the reasons we're on the grey list.
Yeah, it seems like them and the IFP sort of have the same sort of policy as well. They also, IFP says, the border is a huge issue. A lot of criminals coming in and out, committing crime. It has economic repercussions for the country. And the IFP says maybe the death penalty would be a good idea, which I think we can agree on that. But interestingly, Freedom Front Plus on crime says the best thing to do for crime is to have an active citizenry which is armed. Based. Like, just on that alone, fucking, they win the crime thing, right? We love gun rights.
Yeah, very much so. We do love gun rights, and that's because we see them as being a citizen's first line of defense against a criminal. Because they are. Anyway, let's actually go on to something that's really, really, really important to you and me. According to Kenneth Mishue, we need Christian values. We need to reinstall Christian values in society so that people actually stay at home, look after their kids, raise a traditional family, look after their wife, the household, get a job. Very traditional stuff. What's your view on that?
Perfectly fine. I approve of all of those things. IFP takes it a bit closer. They like no racism. In terms of values, like, no more teenage pregnancy, social grants are not used for good, that sort of stuff, which we can agree with. And the Freedom Front Plus has an even better one, where they say their values are very simple. It's integrity, honesty, hard work, mutual respect, and neighborly love. I'm not too sure about the neighborly love part, but like maybe neighborly tolerance. But all of these values are right up my alley. You can vote for any of these parties based on the values that they profess, for me at least.
Yeah, I find that very interesting, because what Freedom Front Plus is actually basically saying is they're promoting Protestant-type values, and I know there's going to be the Karen in the comment section that goes, it's not Protestant, it's universal values. No, it's not. It's Protestant values. So shut up, Karen. And unfortunately, I think what Freedom Front Plus are trying to do is install those values without using the label Christian, because they're trying to obviously have a broader appeal. But you did touch on actually something that's important, and that is social grants. So ACDP says, and I quote, "You were not born to depend on 350. You do not need a government that is like a Father Christmas to you, that gives you 350 and expects you to be happy." So they're not in favor of the social grants. They actually want to just have like mass employment.
Very good. IFP as well. IFP says social grants are a big problem, especially in the Ingonyama Trust, where people are not being subsistence farmers anymore. They're just lying at home waiting for their grants. So they want to ensure that there are favorable conditions for employment rather than relying on grants. Freedom Front Plus says exactly the same thing. Social grants must exist, they can exist, but the aim should be to reduce the dependence on social grants, mainly through financial independence and wealth through favorable economic conditions of the country. Perfectly reasonable, perfectly valuable. All of them are perfectly correct on this, to me at least.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that the ACDP then take a little bit further is they say, actually, in South Africa, if you actually improve the job market and the business environment, you'd improve a lot of other things. And they basically call that their SOS acronym, which stands for Save Our Ship. They basically say to save the ship, you basically need some jobs. And they do have a big-ass, long thought on how they would do that. I'll go through some of them very quickly. They say that you need to create an environment through infrastructure development. They need to professionalize public services, improve education. They say education ship. So we actually need to improve that. They talked about benefication of mining, financial services, business services, basically being more competitive. They said basically helping small businesses, some tax incentives. They want to reduce the red tape. Sounds like Ramaphosa, really. And they want to do everything possible to secure property rights, which they say a lack of property rights being secured deters foreign investment. The final things they say is they want to end cadre deployment, and the most important one is they want to end all race-based policies, full stop, because they say that they cause inflated prices resulting in a tenderpreneur economy.
ACDP is completely and utterly correct. IFP mirrors this as well. NBE open the market completely, privatize a lot of the SOEs as well. Freedom Plus, very much the same thing. They're going to privatize all state enterprises through partial or sort of mixed sales. They want to make all public service appointments only based on merit, not race. And they want to basically pay senior management levels in the state, well, lower their salaries quite dramatically, reducing the size of the state, reducing the size of the civil service, and that will make South Africa thrive. And, you know, Byron, it's really interesting to me. We've been here for a few minutes. These three parties have the most down-to-earth, standard, straightforward policies. And it's like reading something like from the third world in terms of like, it's just so straightforward. And yet the small parties are the ones saying the most straightforward things, the things that work the best. Whereas the big parties are just bullshit for the most part.
Yes, in fact, actually, Ramon, I'm going to take it one step further and really blow your mind. And I know this is going to blow your mind. ACDP actually have a position on power, you know, the thing that causes the economy the most damage. And they basically say we need to improve the existing infrastructure, not build new ones. They say basically maintain the existing power stations. They say reappoint all the retired engineers and all the engineers let go. You know exactly who they mean. They basically say that we need high-grade coal and clear coal technology and need to build a shitload of coal power stations. They say that they can increase support for renewables, but it's really the coal mining sector that needs to run the economy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the final thing is they say you need to reduce the criminal syndicates and the corrupt employees. And if you do that and you have the full might of the law behind it, you fix energy. You know what? Kind of right.
Well, kind of right-wing and correct, I think is what you're trying to say. IFP, same thing. Privatize Eskom, that's a waste of time. Freedom Plus goes even further. It says privatize Eskom completely, unbundle it directly into that transmission versus generation, and then sell both things over to the private sector. And they're basically saying Eskom doesn't deserve to exist in any case. If you sell Eskom, you solve quite a lot of the corruption associated with the state and the state-owned enterprises. So, yeah, private market for electricity, like, you know, like those shithole countries, Byron, like Sweden and like Denmark and places like that, you know.
So one of the final things that the ACD says they want to do is they want a new Chapter 9 institution. We're actually hearing a lot of this, Chapter 9 institutions. So basically the Chapter 9 institution is to replace the Scorpions so that they would no longer be able to just be disbanded by a simple majority act of parliament. We're seeing that in a lot of election pledges, right? Even I think the ANC even has something about a new Chapter 9 organization. So it's kind of copy and paste from everyone else's. And the final line of the ACD manifesto is basically that the ANC just needs to give the citizens of the Republic space. They said they're just too much in your face. They just need space from the ANC. And I think I agree with that entirely.
Completely. The ANC is like this moldy, oppressive blanket on top of everyone. We just need like, let us breathe, like George Floyd. But anyway, as the Freedom Front Plus says, the distinct feature of the Freedom Front Plus is self-determination. and they go on about they support everything that allows the groups of South Africa to self-determine, whether it's Cape Exit, whether it is, the Zulu royal family wanting to leave South Africa, whether it is Afrikaners in Oranje. They support each and every one of those things because that is what allows those communities to thrive in the first place. And all I can say is kudos, fully agree with them. And I mean, Byron, if we had to compare and contrast the IFP, who also supports self-determination, by the way, ACDP and the Freedom Front Plus, we basically got the same great policies from three different political parties. And therefore, voting for any of them in good conscience is perfectly valid. So this is my first wholehearted recommendation to vote for either one of these parties. ACDP, Freedom Front Plus, or IFP, excellent policies, excellent people. And you know what? We need some adults in the room when the negotiations happen after the election. And these are the three biggest adults I can find right now.
Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly, and I've said it once, say it twice, say it 3 times, my support is with the ACDP. I think they're a great political party. The policies that they're pushing forward are very good. But, Ramon, it is unsurprising that all these parties are part of the multi-party charter because they're all basically agreeing on the same things. What is interesting, though, is that some of their positions are very contrary to the DA, for example. And they're a bit more extreme. As we know, the DA doesn't like coal. They don't fully support gun ownership. They do. It's a little bit of a misdemeanor. They're a lot less liberal than the DA. And with that being said, that means that these parties are more in our camp than, say, the DA is. That's just our recommendation and our views. You don't have to agree with us. If you're a DA supporter, by all means, support away. But I think for me, like you, I'd say these three parties, a vote with any one of these three would not be a wasted vote.